Weights and Downer. You or someone you know has lost the ability to earn a living because someone put the company interests before their well-being. In times like these, there's one firm who has handled hundreds of catastrophic and lost earning cases. Before you settle fast with a company's attorney, give Weights and Downer a call. 985-876-0870. Weights and Downer. Let us fight for your rights.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Weights and Downer. Attorneys at Law. Terrebonne Ford. Built Ford Tough. And welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Martin Fall. Some breaking news and some shocking news here in the city of Houma. Joining me now, the police chief of Houma, Chief Travis Terrio, and the assistant district attorney, also the chief of staff, Dennis Elford. Good to have you all on board.
Thank you for having us.
All right, some just terrible news. We're hearing more and more of this nationwide, but this is on a local level. It hits home, and I'll start with the police chief. Y'all made an arrest, very young parents, but a shaken baby, and that's really not good when that happens. A lot of things can go wrong.
Yeah, it's really tragic. This is one of the cases that, when a police officer investigates, it probably affects them the most because most officers have children. Mm-hmm. But on May 25th, around 8:00 p.m., my officers responded to Terrebonne General Medical Center, reported infant suffering from apparent child abuse. The condition was relayed to the officers, the severity, and the child was quickly flown out for treatment at a specialty facility. The investigation continued, and as a result of that, I believe it's pronounced Jimmy Kinney, 18-year-old female, was arrested, and the 16-year-old biological father was arrested. Both were responsible for the neglect that was found, and the child is suffering from internal injuries and head trauma. The child is still listed in critical condition. Our agency, is keeping the child in their prayers and hoping for a good outcome. But we resolved it as quick as we can as far as making an arrest. But by no stretch is it over.
Before I get to Mr. Elford, have you seen a lot of this as a police officer in Houma? Every now and then we hear about this, but it's still very shocking when you hear about it. Have you had a lot of this?
No. We've had it within the city. Yeah, so in Houma, when you say Houma, like all of Terrebonne Parish, yes, we've had these cases. I feel very fortunate that we've not had many in the city, but one is too many.
Right. In the investigation, any reason? Did they give you any reason? Why? Was it mostly a frustrating thing? Were they just not prepared to be decent parents? What was it?
There's no reason given, but there would be no reason that would be acceptable.
Correct.
Either. So as far as a motive for it, that's still under investigation, but there's nothing acceptable for taking a human, much less a child.
I think all would agree on that. Let's turn to the district attorney's office, the chief of staff, Dennis Elford. Dennis, you've seen this, and we've heard on national levels how when you shake a baby, a lot can go wrong because that cartilage hasn't really developed properly. I mean, a lot of things haven't developed, much as a young adult would, but it never ceases to amaze me, and I'm sure you've been in the realm of fire where you see a lot of heinous crimes, but when you do this to a child, this has to touch you personally, doesn't it?
Well, of course, like I think you mentioned, this is a tragic situation, and we hope the best for the child in this situation. The investigation is continuing. The extent of those injuries, well, they're progressing at this point in time in terms of the treatment. I will say this. I met with the Houma Police Department, Chief Terrio and his investigators Tuesday night. And the thing that struck me was that when I walked in there, you had a couple of detectives that were operating about 2 or 3 hours of sleep. So their jobs and their duty toward this case is significant. I think they've done an awesome job in regards to bringing this case at least to this point. But it's not over. That investigation continues. I think Chief Terrio mentioned that one of the individuals is a minor, 16 years old, but almost 17, as I appreciate it.
Can he be charged as an adult, or is it still juvenile?
In general, when you have a juvenile that commits or is alleged to commit a crime, there are certain what's called listed crimes that depending on the discretion of the district attorney's office, we will review that case and make a decision whether or not that is the case we transfer over to the 32nd JDC. The charge that is currently pending against the juvenile, attempted second-degree murder, is one of those listed types of crimes that can be transferred from the juvenile system over to the 32nd JDC. That process is starting now in regards to bringing the case over for review. We will review it and make that decision probably in the next week or so. And
I know that you and Mr. Waits, I know him well, will not take very kindly to children being treated this way.
Our information at this point in time has come from the Houma Police Department's investigation. We have not had the benefit to review any of the doctor's reports or the specific investigation itself. However, I will tell you this. What has been relayed to me, it's astounding that the extent of the suffering that that child went through. And I would suggest to you that we will prosecute this to the utmost extent based upon what we've heard so far.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Alfred. Chief, I'm sure you'll keep us posted as the investigation goes on and it moves through. But once again, a very, very tough day on the news desk whenever you talk about a child. Of course, it's all alleged at this point, but I'm sure through their investigation, they will determine what is fact and what is not. We'll be back with more here on Bayou Time.